LegCo election proposals from the Alliance for True Democracy. Mosquito eradication in Tin Shui Wai after a case of Japanese encephalitis. And weapons systems seized on their way to North Korea.
Good evening. The Alliance for Universal Suffrage has set a 2020 deadline for the direct election of all Legislative Council members. They've put forward a one-person, two-vote system and the abolition of all functional constituencies by 2016. Jenny Lam reports.
7 years and no longer, the Alliance for True Democracy proposed today.
We are saying that we have been waiting far too long, and 2020 is our baseline.
LegCo right now is made up of geographical and functional constituencies. The Alliance wants to scrap the latter by 2016. All eligible voters, they say, should get 2 votes, one for 2 different types of geographical constituencies. Half of the seats should go to single-seat geographical constituencies. The other half should be elected through proportional representation, either with the whole of Hong Kong counted as a single constituency or split into several big constituencies. And during the transitional period, they suggest that existing functional constituencies should be merged or increase the number of directly elected seats in order to reduce the proportion of functional constituency seats. They also want to scrap the existing split voting system in which non-governmental measures have to gain a simple majority in both the functional and geographical constituencies, while government issues need a simple majority of the entire council. The group, which put forward proposals on the election of the CE in 2017, warned today against screening the candidates.
A kind of mechanism to limit the nomination rights of ordinary people is a real disaster.
Tam Yu Chung of the Democratic Alliance for the Betterment and Progress of Hong Kong suggests that arrangements for the next LegCo election can stay more or less the same as the last polls, to allow more time for adjustments by 2020. Secretary for Constitutional and Mainland Affairs Raymond Tam says the community remains split on political reform, and consultations on the 2016 LegCo election and the 2017 CE election have yet to begin. So over the coming year, Tam promised to collect public opinion on the issue. Jenny Lam, TVB News.
Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying has invited a group of pan-Democrats and academics to a dinner on August 1st. Among those invited are Chung Man Kwong, a member of the Central Committee of the Democratic Party, and Lee Wing Tat, another Democratic Party member who is also research director to the think tank Hong Kong 2020. While the attendants are expected to exchange ideas with the CE on political reform, some lawmakers say a formal public consultation is needed to find out what the people of Hong Kong really think about the topic.
If you really want to listen to the viewpoint of the pan-Democrat on political reform, actually he should not only have a dinner, but really launch out a comprehensive consultation program to listen to the view of all the people of Hong Kong. And of course, pan-Democrat will mobilize the people to express our view on political reform, especially against any screening out of candidates for the 2017 CE election.
But that does not replace the public consultation on political reform. These are 2 separate issues. So that's the latter is what I'm concerned about.
Hygiene officials have begun a mosquito eradication program in Tin Shui Wai today after a resident was diagnosed with Japanese encephalitis. A district councillor has questioned whether cases of infection in Tin Shui Wai over the past few years were linked to pig farms in that area. Stephanie Choi reports.
They sprayed every nook and cranny where mosquitoes can possibly breed. In the flower beds and in the drains. The housing department says this is routine work, which on average they carry out once a week. But now that a person at Tin Yan Estate in Tin Shui Wai has come down with Japanese encephalitis, they are doubling their effort to eradicate mosquitoes. Residents complain that a park in the area is ridden with mosquitoes. And putting insect repellent on the children, this father says, does little to help. So they simply tell the kids not to go out to play. The virus responsible for Japanese encephalitis can be transmitted to people by mosquitoes which have stung pigs or birds carrying the disease. And there are 2 pig farms in Tin Shui Wai. This is the 3rd year in a row in which people in the district have been infected. Yunlong District Councillor Chiu Sao Han questioned whether the cases were linked to poor hygiene at the pig farms. Ms. Chu also mentioned that the discharge of sewage from neighboring pig farms into the Nala might provide clues with regard to the origin of the Japanese encephalitis virus. She has urged health officials to check on the farms to make sure they are clean. The 59-year-old man confirmed with Japanese encephalitis is in critical condition. Investigation is underway into whether he contracted the disease locally or from outside Hong Kong. Stephanie Choi, TVB News.
Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe today renewed his claims on the disputed Diaoyu Islands. Abe made the comments during a visit to the Ishigaki Island. It's one of the southernmost islands of Okinawa. It's also one of the closest islands to the Diaoyus, known as the Senkakus in Japan. Abe called on border security officials to boost their guard against China's increased activity in the region. Tougher territorial defense is part of the ruling Liberal Democratic Party's campaign platform for the upper house election to be held on Sunday. Analysts believe his governing coalition is likely to win a comfortable majority and strengthen its grip on power.
Panama's president says the country has taken control of a North Korean ship that was trying to sneak in missiles and other weapons from Cuba through the Panama Canal. While seizing the vessel, there was a standoff with the ship's captain, who tried to slit his own throat. On board the North Korean vessel, the Changchang Gang, cleverly tucked away under 10 tons of brown sugar, was a massive cache of weapons, 240 metric tons in fact, to which the president of Panama said, "Not on my watch." An outraged President Ricardo Martinelli said the world needs to sit up and take note. You can't go around shipping undeclared weapons of war through the Panama Canal. Because the ship's crew resisted efforts to seize the vessel, all 35 members were arrested. President Martinelli says that's when the captain tried to commit suicide and ended up suffering a heart attack. In the illegal shipment were 2 anti-aircraft missile systems and 9 rockets and parts and pieces. It also contained airplane parts for 2 MiG-21 fighter jets and 15 motors to power those jets. But a statement by Cuba's foreign ministry claims the weapons are obsolete. It said the weapons were being sent back to North Korea for repairs and would be returned to Cuba. It claims items on board included 2 anti-aircraft missile batteries. The statement did admit to 9 disassembled rockets and 2 MiG-21 fighter jets and engines. Still, the United Nations ambassador to the United States warned toting a missile on board is a major security violation that carries sanctions.
Shipments of arms or related material to or from Korea would violate Security Council resolutions, 3 of them, as a matter of fact.
Intelligence officials believe the equipment is part of a Soviet-era radar system that accompanies the SA-2 surface-to-air missile. The U.S. State Department commended Panama's search and seizure of the North Korean ship and offered to help with the investigation.
The U.S. commends the actions that the government of Panama has taken in this case. Panama, as you know, is a close partner of the United States, and we stand ready to cooperate with Panama should they request our assistance.
The government of North Korea had yet to comment. The shipping industry's Lloyd's List says the ship was registered to the Pyongyang-based Changchang Gang Shipping Company and was docked in Chinese ports for several months before going to Russia. Former U.S. spy agency contract worker Edward Snowden has officially applied for temporary asylum in Russia. That could further deepen tensions between the United States and Russia, which has so far refused to expel him but kept him at arm's length, saying he hasn't crossed the border just yet. More from Alan Booknia.
Snowden has spent the last 3 weeks in the international transit zone at a Moscow airport, trying to arrange safe passage to South America, where several countries have offered him asylum. He's wanted in the U.S. on espionage charges after leaking details of government surveillance programs. On Tuesday, a lawyer who met with Snowden said he officially submitted Snowden's temporary asylum request to Russian authorities. Appearing on Russian television, Anatoly Kucherena said Snowden fears he could be tortured or given the death penalty if returned to the United States. Kucherena says he expects a quick decision on the request, although it could take up to 3 months. The decision technically rests with Russia's Federal Migration Service. But in the U.S., the White House hinted that it would hold Russian President Vladimir Putin accountable for the decision.
President Putin is the president of the country, and we believe that the government obviously has a role to play here.
Carney once again called for Snowden to be returned to the U.S.
He is not a human rights activist. He is not a dissident. He's accused of leaking classified information. He's been charged with 3 felony counts related to the leaking of classified information.
If granted temporary asylum, Snowden would be allowed to freely travel and even work during his time in Russia. Alan Booknia, TVB News.
And still ahead in the news, this year's Hong Kong Book Fair opens. A warning against online promotional product reviews without identifying as such. And Cory Monteith died of drug overdose. Welcome back. Hong Kong's biggest book fair ever opened at the Convention and Exhibition Centre in Wan Chai today. This year, ebooks are among the highlights. Vicky Kung reports.
On your marks, get set, and books. Crowds of book lovers were in search of their favorite publications on the first day of the Hong Kong Book Fair. This year, a record of 560 exhibitors are showing off their products, and potential buyers came prepared.
Around 10 to 15 books for my kids.
Others went off for the freebies that came with the fashion magazines. Among the highlights this year, the launch of an e-book vending machine and an online e-book store. A bookstore in Tuen Mun will host Hong Kong's first vending machine in late July. It will operate in both English and Chinese by the end of this year.
Within 2 or 3 years, I think the e-book business will have almost 10 to 20% of the whole market book share.
To buy a book, it's really easy. You just have to click the book that you're interested in, and then click Add to your cart. And what you have to do is to swipe your Octopus card here, and then you will get a receipt with a QR code on it. What you have to do is to take a photo of this QR code using a smartphone, and then you can read it on your smartphone.
Now, there's an alien visitor to the book fair. No worries, just a member of the Hong Kong UFO Club.
Is this the first or second year that you're here? Are you from space?
The club hopes to bring more extragalactic news, books, and culture to Hong Kong. But whether extraterrestrial life exists or not is in the eye of the beholder.
The most recent one was the one in January. That's one that I witnessed in Saigon, and we are documenting it, and it will be shown in fall this year.
Some publishers decided to turn to political satire and sell books that focus on Hong Kong culture, such as these one on Chief Executive Leung Chun-ying. Vicky Kung, TVB News.
A lawyer warned today that online product reviews without identifying themselves as product promotional materials could be liable to prosecution under the newly amended Trade Descriptions Ordinance. Evelina Leung tells us more.
Online review videos on beauty products are becoming more and more popular, but not all these videos are unbiased. For example, this one here is actually an editorial. Cynthia, the girl in the video, doesn't believe she's misleading the viewers into thinking her review is impartial. She said her review is not one-sided because she does tell viewers that the product is not suitable for some people. But cases like this could become a criminal offense under the amended Trade Descriptions Ordinance, which will take effect on Friday. Under the revised ordinance, companies that hire these agents to promote the products need to clearly state the review is an editorial. Lawmaker and lawyer Ronnie Tong said if the company is found to be breaking the law under such circumstances, the agent could be liable to punishment as well.
The supplier obviously would be guilty of breaking the law because the supplier did not tell the consumer all the full facts. Now, if the supplier in fact is working in concert with the promoter online, and in the sense that they have an agreement between themselves to cheat consumers into thinking that the promotion is by an independent third party, then I think the promoter himself also would be guilty of conspiracy to commit a crime.
Tong said the group buying websites are also considered as an agent. If these websites can't provide what they offer, they could also be liable to prosecution. Evelina Lang, TVB News.
A spacewalk on the International Space Station ended abruptly on Tuesday when a water-like liquid started to build up in one astronaut's helmet. The scary revelation made for one of the most harrowing spacewalks in decades. U.S. astronaut Chris Cassidy and Italy's Luca Parmitano were less than an hour into their planned 6-hour outing when Parmitano reported what seemed to be water leaking in his helmet. He emptied his drink bag thinking that might be the source. But in the weightlessness of space, blobs of liquid continued to collect in his helmet. NASA quickly called off the walk. Then they removed Parmitano's helmet and sopped up the liquid. The cause of the mysterious leak still remains unclear. In other news, an autopsy report has revealed that Canadian actor Cory Monteith died from an overdose of heroin and alcohol. But the coroner said there is no evidence to suggest the star's death was intentional. Monteith was found dead in a hotel room in Vancouver on Saturday. Vancouver police said evidence where the actor was found is consistent with a drug overdose. They believe the 31-year-old was alone at the time of his death. The actor, who shot to fame in the hit TV series Glee, has been struggling with drug addiction since the young age of 13. Admitting he had a drug problem, just this past April, Monteith admitted himself into a drug rehab facility. Oh, that's a shame. Anyways, what do you have for us in sports today?
In sports, we'll start with baseball, and baseball paid tribute to its greatest closer ever at the All-Star Game. The incomparable Mariano Rivera of the New York Yankees was named the most valuable player as the American League shut out the National League. Alan Buckner shows us the highlights.
The Big Apple hosted the Midsummer Classic. Home favorite Matt Harvey of the New York Mets struck out Miguel Cabrera here. The American League starter, Max Scherzer, also began well, fanning Joey Votto in the first inning. The AL finally broke through in the fourth. Cabrera opened the inning with a double.
This ball's going to get down.
Jose Bautista of the Toronto Blue Jays brought him home with a sacrifice fly.
Deep enough, Cabrera will tag.
The American League doubled the lead in the seventh. Baltimore shortstop J.J. Hardy beat out a double play. That's an RBI grounder. In the eighth, a double by Jason Kipnis of the Cleveland Indians made it 3-0.
And it's over his head. Off the wall, in to score is...
Then the stuff of Broadway. Mariano Rivera of the New York Yankees got a standing ovation as baseball's all-time saves leader entered the game. Rivera is set to retire at the end of the season, so this was his last All-Star appearance. He pitched a perfect eighth and was named the game's most valuable player. The American League won 3-0, and that secured home field advantage for the AL champs in this year's World Series.
When I got to the mound, I see both sides, both teams on the out of the dugout and cheering and applauding there. It was amazing. That almost made me cry too. That was close, but it was amazing seeing that. I will never forget that.
He's such a class person and a great ambassador to the game. So for him to get honored like that was moving. A very special moment, and our players, they showed their respect and appreciation, and so it's a really neat deal.
Alan Booknet, TVB News.
And over to cricket, Australia will be trying to level the Ashes series when they battle England at Lords in the second test tomorrow. England won by 14 runs in the first test and believe they can still play better.
We know that we haven't played to the best of our abilities in that last test match, and that's what we want to do. We want to, hit our straps and focus, entirely on getting our skills right. And the minute you take your focus off that is when you come undone. So I think it's really important that we maintain our focus on our dressing room.
Obviously, it was a disappointing result in the first test. It was nice to get so close, but we're not here to get close. We're here to win cricket games. And where we're at and where we want to take this group, we're comfortable with everything's at. It's the second test of the campaign. We're at Lords. We'd love to see a couple of guys' names up on the board and to get a win here.
And finally, a new tourist attraction in Austria called a Skywalk allows visitors to walk 366 meters above a glacier. The Skywalk is on the Dachstein Glacier and offers visitors a stomach-churning experience only for those with nerves of steel. Builders say the biggest difficulty was, without a doubt, the weather. It meant working under every condition: snow, wind, extreme coldness of minus 20 degrees Celsius. In all, it only took 170 days to construct. Visitors to the bridge seem to love the experience, calling it the view beautiful and awesome. That was truly awesome.
That looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's an awesome wrap of our news. Thanks for joining us.
Good night.
Good evening. Locally, several millimeters of rainfall has been recorded over most parts of the territory. And as tonight's situation chart shows, showers and thunderstorms are affecting the coast of Guangdong and the northern part of the South China Sea. Today's temperatures range from 24.7 to 29.9 degrees, and the relative humidity was between 86 to 98%. Moderate easterly winds. The current temperature is now 25 degrees Celsius, with the relative humidity standing at 97%. 19.7 millimeters of rainfall has been recorded since midnight. The thunderstorm warning is now in force. So Freddie, how's the weather tomorrow? As for tonight and tomorrow, it will be mainly cloudy. There will be showers and a few thunderstorms. Temperatures will range between 26 and 30 degrees. There will be showers in the next couple of days. Tomorrow's API is forecast at 15 to 60, and the pollution level will range from low to high. And the maximum UV intensity forecast for tomorrow will be about 7. And here's the latest global weather update. Sunny in Shanghai, showers in Taipei, rain in Xiamen. Rain in Guangzhou, showers in Macau, rain in Chengdu. Thunderstorms in Beijing, rain in Seoul, cloudy in Tokyo. Thunderstorms in Bangkok, rain in Ho Chi Minh City and Manila. Bright in Kuala Lumpur, thunderstorms in Singapore, showers in Jakarta. Thunderstorms in New Delhi, rain in Karachi and Mumbai. Sunny in Cairo. Showers in Brisbane, bright in Sydney, rain in Melbourne, bright in Auckland. Cloudy in Toronto. Cloudy in Vancouver, bright in San Francisco, sunny in Los Angeles. Sunny in London, thunderstorms in Paris and Zurich. And that's the weather. Have a lovely evening.